I tell you what day it is every time I start a vlog, and if you guys even care, because people watch these at different times, but nonetheless, it's Wednesday. It's about 7:45. I just got to school not too long ago. And right now we're getting ready to see if I'm going to have to start my morning annoyed, because my email, and it doesn't seem to happen to anybody else on campus except for me, I will log all the way into my computer, and the password to log onto my computer is the exact same password that I need to use to log into my email. So I know I'm putting in the username and password correctly because it's the same thing. But for whatever reason, when I go into the email to log in, many a mornings, it's gonna tell me that my username and password is incorrect. And then I have to shut the computer all the way back down again and then log back in again, and then it will work. And that doesn't seem like a big deal, but when it opened, praise the Lord. When you're just tired, burnt out, a teacher in general, possibly suffering from some sort of hormonal disorder, that is just enough to send one over the edge before the kids even get here. So luckily, God is looking out for me this morning. My email opened. I just thought I would check in because I don't have, well, I'm not scheduled to have a prep period right now. We have to have PLCs on Wednesday, which most of the time, through no fault of the teachers on this campus, but by the sheer structure of these PLCs at our middle school campuses in the district, they're just not effective meetings. Like, it's not possible to have a true PLC the way they have them structured at the middle school level. So we have those on Wednesdays. There's been some controversy about that because we asked if we could be excused from meeting in our PLCs this Wednesday, today, because grades have to be finalized by 4 o'clock today. So we would love to use our prep to get all that taken care of. And we were told no. Now, we had a long weekend. We had Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday off for President's Day. But again, no teacher should feel like on their long weekend, they have to be working on finalizing grades. So we had that long weekend, and then grades have to be finalized by 4 o'clock today. So a teacher on campus asked me, like, was that a union issue? And I said, well, first let's go to our leads to see if they can reach out to the principal to see, would he be willing to allow us to skip PLC this week in an effort to finalize our grades. They reached out to him. He said no. Now, one of the reasons he said no, and I'm hoping this is the sole reason, is that we have district people coming to these meetings, which again, the usefulness of that is to be debated. And so his point was they're coming out, so we can't really cancel it. And you had a minimum day last Monday to work on your grades. When I taught elementary school in this district, every Monday was a minimum day, meaning that we got out at 1 o'clock every Monday, so that teachers had time to prep, do what they need to do. At the middle school level, we do not get a minimum day every Monday because the theory is middle school teachers get a prep period every day, so they don't need a minimum day every Monday. Now, mind you, over the years when I first started in the district and elementary got minimum days on Monday, there was no additional prep. Now, elementary, they get, I can't remember, they get at least one prep period a week because we have PE where the kids are pulled by PE teachers. So they still get a little bit more time than they did, but bottom line is the theory is the district doesn't believe middle school teachers need a minimum day every Monday because they have that prep period. So his point was, you also had a prep period, or you also had a minimum day, excuse me, last Monday to work on your grades. Now, that was a whole week and a half before grades are due. And if you teach middle school and you work with teenagers, stuff is coming in at the final hour. So there's not a whole lot of finalizing you can do to some degree. So I'm saying all that to say, if there's anybody that's watching that is a principal or thinking about being a principal, that is one of those things that an administrator could do that immediately lifts the staff's morale, and it costs no money. It's really no skin off the principal's back. I'm pretty confident that the person that comes to our PLC, if we had reached out to her and said, hey, we need to finish up finalizing grades today, can we reschedule your visit? She would have been perfectly fine with that. But the principal said no. And this is the same principal that said, I hear you, Latanya, you're burnt out, but I don't know if I want to give you release time to get things done. So those are the things that teachers wish administrators would just take a pause and think, like, is this something I can do for my teachers that's just going to make them feel a little bit better in these trying times? And if it is, and it's not going to cost you anything, and it's not going to completely alter the universe in any kind of way, just do it. Like, we need it. So that's what's supposed to happen this morning. But as far as what I have planned, in class, in language arts, we finished the book Look Both Ways. We read all the stories. I think it went really well. We got through the book relatively quickly. And now I'm in the process of trying to figure out how to create this narrative assignment tied into this book. I did have the kids take the AR test just because for me, it should be an easy A for these kids, an easy grade to put in for them. But I knew that I wanted them to write a personal narrative. So when I was reading this book over the summer, I had a few ideas as to what to do when we end the book. One was they could do a literary analysis. I chose not to do that because we hadn't written a narrative yet. And then they also do a book review. So the easy thing is they do a book review after every book that we read. This is just something I got off of Teachers Pay Teachers. It asked them to give the title, the author, the genre, 3 words to describe the book, describe a character, give a meaningful quote. Now, because this is a book of short stories, the top section, they're just giving the overall information about the book. And then I told them they're gonna pick their favorite story within the book to give, to respond to these more specific questions about character and stuff like that. So they started that yesterday. And then my narrative idea is they're all gonna write a personal narrative that is centered around or based on a mundane moment in their life, like a real mundane moment in their life. So the whole book, Look Both Ways, is centered around these kids that live in the same neighborhood. Most of them attend the same school. They don't all necessarily know each other directly, but they're all associated in the fact that they're in the same neighborhood and or go to the same school. And each story starts with something that seems extremely basic or mundane, but then there's a bigger story surrounding it. So I said, I need you to think, yesterday I told them, just think of something that appears to be mundane in your life, whether it was an event or a thing that you're interested in that from the outside looking in seems mundane and not significant, but actually does have significance. And that's going to be the thing that you use to jump your story off with. So that's all I asked them to think about. I told them that that was going to be the center of their story, but that the story itself could be fictional. Like the mundane thing has to have really happened to them, but the story they create around it could be fictional. So yesterday I gave them an example for me. Let's see. So their slides will look just like this. This was just my example slide. Here I kind of tell them what they're doing. And then this was my mundane. So briefly, my mundane was when I was in high school, there was this girl named Lakeisha that was new to the school. I befriended her when she arrived. We were juniors and we were friendly for a while. And then she eventually made some more friends and spent more time with them. And her and I really became more of acquaintances. And it was 6th period. I'm pretty sure it was 6th period. It was a history class. And classes started. Like the tardy bell had rang. Everybody was in class. I'm pretty sure the teacher started teaching. And Lakeisha came in just creating a scene. Like just doing the most, joking around, doing this, doing that. And I said something to her along the lines of like, girl, you need to calm down. She didn't like that, and she said all kinds of things, but one of the loudest and biggest things she said to me was like I needed to stop, and said something like, you ain't nothing but an Oreo, or that's why you're an Oreo. Now, if you don't know, when someone that's black calls another person black, when someone that's black calls another person that's black an Oreo, what they're saying is you're black on the outside, but you're white on the inside. And she was saying that to me because generally speaking in high school, I was pretty I kept to myself. I was pretty reserved. I was a pretty good student. I was involved. And to her, that was me being white. So I told my kids, there's something about her saying that to me. Like, I just remember like a switch flipping, and I said, oh, if that's what you think, then I'm about to be the biggest Oreo out here. I'm about to go so hard in school, and I'm about to accomplish so many things and do so much in life in general, so that when we are grown, not that I knew I would cross paths with her, because I never did. I had never have. But just the satisfaction of knowing that when we're adults, my big old Oreo self is going to be doing all kinds of things, and you will probably be wishing you had done some of the things I'm doing now that make me an Oreo. And so I told my kids it's from the outside, from someone sitting in class seeing that exchange, it seemed like a very run-of-the-mill high school experience, but that truly was life-altering to me. Like, I wrote my college essay about it. I wholeheartedly believe that's why I work the way that I work now, and why I set goals for myself and function the way that I function now. And it's a big reason why I went into teaching, because I wanted Black students specifically, to be quite honest, to see a Black teacher, to see that we do things like that, that we do go to college and we are smart and we are involved, and that doesn't take away from our Blackness in any way. So that was the example I gave. So that's what they're working on in language arts. I'll talk about history a little bit later because the bell rang and I have to welcome the kids. So good morning. Talk to you later. Doing things they shouldn't be doing. Hello, it's after school. It's 3 o'clock. Just an update on the little bit of a rant I went on this morning. We did have our PLC meeting. Surprise, surprise, the district rep that was supposed to come didn't come. I'm not sure why. Not sure why that happened, but she ended up not being there. So we did have a good chunk of that time on our own. So that worked out. And yeah. One of the things we did end up talking about, and I kind of brought it up, is that I know this is kind of like things that many teachers have been, talking about on social media across the country at different schools. And it's just like I don't want to say lack of discipline. I don't really know how I want to phrase it, because not all administrators are not doing it, but it's enough of a pervasive problem that a lot of teachers are talking about it. So we did talk about how, and I brought it up, especially this year with the boys, like there is like this kind of, I don't know, it's like a disrespectful demeanor that they'll take that I have never really experienced before teaching middle school. And it's almost like they need some male figures on campus to but directly reinforce appropriate interactions with adults, whether they be male or female. And we have 2 male administrators, 1 female administrator, and there are times where I personally feel like one of the male administrators spends so much time trying to hype these boys up about how athletic they are, how great they are, that on the flip, these boys are not also being told or spoken to correctly when they are being disrespectful. Like it's almost like they're being overly praised in some areas and not corrected or directed or guided enough in others. So like, I expressed that sentiment. I know I'm not the only one that feels that way, but it does feel very prominent this year. For the most part, I feel like I have a good command in my class, and that no one's just, doing crazy things to be disrespectful. But when I talk to some of these students, especially the boys this year, you can tell they're looking at me like, who do you think you are talking to me like that? And they really only seem to do that with authority figures that are female. I don't know if it's because we're in an age of just toxic male podcasts where they're saying all kinds of crazy things. I don't know if it's just, an anomaly this year, but we talked about that a little bit. So as far as how today went in class, Miss Robinson. Hi. No. Okay. Bye. what was I saying? So I think I was talking about what we've been doing. So in history, the last 2 chapters I've jigsawed in one way, shape, or form. Both chapters focus on the Constitution. Chapter 9 focuses on like really the process of the Constitutional Convention, like what were the debates in terms of what ended up being in the Constitution and how people were in disagreement over some things in terms of like how much power do we want to give to the states versus the national government. So that was really the focus of chapter 9, like the debates that were occurring while the Constitution was being drafted. Chapter 10, the Constitution is now drafted and ratified, and now it's just kind of going over the different powers of different parts of government and how those powers are outlined in the Constitution. So there are 2 chapters that in the grand scheme of history, I don't want to spend a ton of time like getting into the nitty-gritty of it. For me as a history teacher, it's more important that they understand like historical events that affect us today, or historical events that we don't want to replicate or that have direct implications on society, and not so much like, you know, meticulous memorization of like exactly how the judicial branch works, but exposure to it, like they're aware of it. So I jigsawed those 2. Chapter 9, the jigsaw was just straight up, they made a slide presentation.
You're still on campus, can you please come to the office? There all the noise.
And had to teach the class about their section. And then this one, hold on. This one, at first I was just gonna have them do this Constitution pizza, and I stole this from 2 other members on my team. They did this pizza project but with a different chapter in history, and have them present their pizzas, but then I realized the pizzas are too small for their classmates, and their classmates need to be able to see the information being presented so they can also record the information in their workbooks. So this jigsaw involved them making a slide, answering very specific questions that they were assigned to, and then making a pizza to go with that. The pizza is really being made because now I'm at a point where I need to get some visuals that I can have ready to go to represent what we've been learning in class for open house, which will be here before we know it. And so that's what we've been doing in history. So let me show you one. This, make sure there's no names on it. This is one of the pizzas. So it has 6 slices. They didn't have to make it look like a real pizza, but my homeroom class, everyone pretty much did. And they all pretty much made pepperoni pizza. Like a couple of them veered outside of that. So they were asked to answer 6 questions. Some of them had less questions, but they know they had to have 6 facts related to their specific section that they were in charge of. So this group was in charge of teaching the class about the executive office and the powers held within and what they can do. So first they had to read the section in their history book. Then they had to answer the questions in their workbook that correspond with that section. Then they had to come to me to make sure that their answers were correct. Then they had to make slides where they represent all the information they learned from their section. They had to submit those slides so that I can look at them and make sure the slides make sense. And then they got their pieces for their pizza. So they end up getting 6 slices and this little circle. And the circle in the middle is just like a symbol that represents what section they were in charge of. And then each slice is giving a piece of information. And the slices were given to them individually. So they got these individually and then the little circle. I'm out of the circles. And then they made them. The making of the pizza wasn't very long because they really were taking the information from the slides and then putting it on the pizza slices. So we finished getting all that made and ready to go today. They're gonna do their presentations tomorrow. And again, as each group is presenting, their classmates are listening and taking notes in their workbook to answer the questions within. Because the questions each group is in charge of presenting are directly tied to the questions in the workbook. So by the end of the presentations, all the workbook pages that correspond with this particular chapter should be complete for everybody, and then we can move on to the next chapter, which will focus on the Bill of Rights, I believe. That's been history. Language arts, I think I said, I don't know, 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 I I don't know, just in case. We finished Both Ways, which is a book of short stories by Jason Reynolds. The kids really liked it. I really liked it as well. Obviously, that's why I chose to bring it in class. And I think I said all this because now it's all feeling like deja vu. They took the AR test, and after every short story, they had to identify what was like the little mundane thing that the story seemed to be about. And then summarize the story, and then identify, like, yes, it was about this mundane topic, but what was the bigger meaning in the story? So they did that at the end of every story. And now, at some point in the school year, kids are supposed to write a narrative, like an original story. So this year, what I decided to try, and I've never done it before, so we're gonna see how it goes, is kids are being asked to first identify a mundane event in their life. I think I said all of this, yeah, this morning. And then decide which of these 10 stories do they want to show up in, and write a story that is based on a real mundane moment or event in their life, but then somehow incorporate characters from one of the stories. So I think what I explained this morning is the story can be fictional, but the mundane thing has to be real. So all I've asked them to do first is identify their mundane, and then starting tomorrow, we're gonna start breaking down like the steps of actually writing this story. I think it's a cool idea. We're gonna see how it goes. They seem kind of intrigued by trying to make a story that they're creating kind of fit in with the characters there. And the characters that they use from this book, they don't have to even be main characters. They don't have to be doing a whole ton of a lot of things, but they have to clearly be there. Like, I have to be able to recognize them beyond them saying, oh, and then I saw this character walk by across the street. Like, that wouldn't be enough. So that's what we're doing. I've never done that before, and really this year I've been kind of going a little rogue. Like, we're done with the first unit of Study Sync. I'm gonna jump into unit 3. We're skipping unit 2. I do have to do a story for sure from unit 3 because we have to do a common formative assessment on it. So I think I might pause with the story for a few days and then do this activity with Abuela Invents the Zero, because I have to have that done by March 6th. So I do need to go home and kind of figure that out. But that's how my work day has gone. Just a typical day. Now I'm gonna go to the office to see if the laminator is warmed up so that I can laminate the pizzas from my second class. These are from my homeroom class. The ones from my second class need to be laminated because in order for them to be able to actually hold it, they need to be laminated, because these are just all taped together. And if they're not laminated, the pieces are pretty flimsy. So my intention is to have these hanging somewhere, somehow, during open house as a display of some of their learning. And that's that. So I'm gonna go to the office, laminate, and then I'm gonna go home because my grades are finalized. I got that all done. We're done. It is what it is. So I wanna go home. But first I gotta go laminate, so. Okay, I just got back in my room, got all the pizzas laminated, and I will say my Switch class, they were quite a bit more creative. Like, when I say most of my homeroom made pepperoni pizzas, that is the truth. So here's just a sample of these. This one is like your standard pizza. They were in charge of checks and balances. This one, again, is a pizza, but it has a little bit more variation than just pepperoni on it. They were in charge of, I think, the Office of the President, I believe. They didn't put the label on it. This one, again, they didn't put the label in the middle, but let's see. They were talking about how to amend the Constitution. This was the judicial branch. Like, see how this one's more creative? It's not a pizza per se, it's very floral. They did the preamble of the Constitution. This one is a Hello Kitty themed pizza, and they did the executive office. And this one was, I think just sharing of powers. What was the title of the section? But you get the point. So they were a little bit more creative. I'm gonna cut them out tomorrow, probably during my prep, and then they'll have them as a part of their presentation tomorrow. So what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna pack up, I'm gonna go home. Actually, I'm gonna go to Target because I don't have any food in my house. I have dinner, but not snacks. And I've been getting home and I've been hungry and I've been eating really my mom's snacks. She stores snacks at my house because she comes over. And I need to get some more pop-up Post-it notes. Do I need to get those things today? I don't. But I, for some reason, have been very fixated on just fine-tuning my desk. And I'm out of pop-up Post-it notes, which are very handy to have. So this little teddy bear that is, or polar bear, whatever this is, this bear, he's supposed to hold pop-up notes, pop-up Post-its in there, but I ran out. And so I need to get some more. And I ordered a new wireless keyboard to replace this one that should be arriving tomorrow, all because I need to have my coffee cup warmer back. This needs to be plugged in. It just keeps your coffee cup warm as long as something's sitting on it. And I can't plug it in because all these plugs down here, well, you can't see it, but it's like a corded mess down here. You can see that? And there's no extra cords for me to plug in my coffee warmer, which is right there. And so the RSP teacher that I worked with yesterday said, why don't you just get a wireless keyboard? I'm surprised you don't have that yet, and that would free up one outlet. And that's really all he had to say before I was on Amazon ordering one. So I ordered a very cute rainbowed colored wireless keyboard that should go with the overall aesthetic of my classroom. And I feel like that's gonna make my teaching life slightly better. To just look at a colorful keyboard and to have my coffee cup warmer there. And so I need my pop-up Post-it notes to complete the look. It's not rational, but that's what I'm doing right now to keep myself sane. So I'm gonna pack up and go to Target and then go home and walk Woofy. And if I'm feeling really inspired, I will walk on the treadmill because I didn't get myself out of the bed to do that this morning. And yeah, so let me pack up.
Thinking, yet they weren't doing any such thing. In fact, the boy giraffe had now shut his eyes. He sleeps standing like my old mare, I realized, wincing at the memory. The girl, though, was...
Say hi, Woof. Okay. We just got back from our walk. The house got cleaned today by the cleaning lady, so I always like to take a moment to take it in. I've said it many times, and I'll say it again. It's one of the best ways that I'm spending my money right now. But I just got back from walking Woofy. I did go to Target. I left school a little bit later than what I intended because, there you guys are, because I had to put you guys in a cabinet. But I left work a little bit later than I intended because I walked out of my classroom. I went to say goodbye to Taylor and then ended up talking to her and one of our coworkers, really a venting session, which is pretty much what we do every day. Then we walked outside and there were two other teachers that wanted to vent about their day. So it just took me a minute. But I got my Post-it notes and I got some snacks. I bought the family size box of extra toasty Cheez-Its. I probably shouldn't have bought these because they're not the healthiest thing. But if I see them, it's like I can't not buy them. Then I bought a bag of popcorners. I've had these before. If you haven't, these are extremely good and they're relatively safe. They're not too bad for you. And they had these on sale 2 for $6 or 2 for $7. So at first I was gonna get a really big bag, but then I saw this flavor, which I have not tried, which is the sour cream and onion. And I'm actually gonna try them right now because I am hungry. It's like close to dinner time, but still. Let's see. They are tasty. As sour cream and onion usually is. And then on the way to self-checkout, I saw this shirt hanging And I really just bought it because it's green. I can wear it for work. I can dress it up with, or dress it down with jeans, dress it up with a shirt. I probably shouldn't have bought that either, but I did. And then I got home and walked Whoopi. And now I'm opening my Factor box. Factor's a meal service that I've been doing since the summer. It comes once a week. I get 8 meals. I pay about, I always upgrade 1 meal. And they charge you an extra $10 or something depending on what you upgrade. And so I spend about $124 a week, but it provides me all my dinners and a couple of extra meals. There is no prep required. I used to do Blue Apron, then I went to Green Chef, and there was absolutely, positively nothing wrong with either one of those. I enjoyed them. I had great meals, but I've just gotten to a point where I don't know how I have the energy to work a whole day and then come home a couple of days out of the week, cook a whole meal, clean up the kitchen, and then eat it, and then still do work after that, because I would then work some more. And I just don't have the energy to do that. So I haven't been. And I don't have any regrets right now. So I got 8 meals. This week I got tomato and basil chicken risotto. I think I've had that before. Italian sausage and herb roasted potatoes. I've had that one before. And I picked them. They pre-select the meals for you, and then you can go into the app each week and unselect the ones they are pre-selecting for you and pick your own, which is what I always do. Sun-dried tomato chicken. So these are all meals that I personally picked. Louisiana shrimp. Barbecue beef smothered zucchini. I don't think I've ever had that one before. That one's new. Chicken mushroom tetrazzini. Bacon cheddar burger. And then the last one is my upgraded one, which I will eat tonight. It is gorgonzola butter filet mignon. So that's what's gonna be for dinner tonight. Most of the meals, if not all of them, I always make like a piece of toast to go with it. But sometimes, you know, there's not a lot of food there, which is good. It helps me with portion control and calorie consumption. So I have a piece of toast to go with it. And that's my Factor meal. So I'm gonna put these away. Then I'm gonna go upstairs and comb Whoopi, because he has to be combed on a regular basis so that he doesn't get matted. And then after that, I'm gonna take a shower. And I thought I was gonna do some work, but I decided no. No, I'm not gonna do any work. Why would I do work tonight when I just worked to make sure my grades are finalized? So I'm gonna take the night off. I'm probably going to watch a couple of episodes of Insecure. I've been watching that again. Recently, I saw the whole series in real time, like when it was actually airing. I loved it. I wish it could have stayed on forever, but good things must come to an end. And I just recently decided I wanted to rewatch it again. So that's what I'm doing. I'm on season 2, like almost at the end of season 2, where Molly is in a little situation with Dro, and Issa and Lawrence are broken up, and she's still working at the nonprofit. So, but that is the day. I'm gonna go ahead and end the vlog here. If you enjoyed today's vlog, give it a thumbs up. If you're not subscribed, make sure you subscribe. If you are subscribed, make sure you turn on the notification bell, because I never really know when I'm gonna upload and when I'm not. If you'd like to leave a comment, please do that. All of those things help support my channel. And as always, I hope that you're well. Oh, before I forget, and speaking of being well, it's not gonna sound like a big deal to most of you, but it's kind of a big deal to me. I did officially decline going on that district paid for trip this summer. So in yesterday's vlog, I talked about how there was this trip that was supposed to happen pre-pandemic for 8th grade history teachers, and you were gonna go to different states within the country, and I think even Canada, and you would go, it's called Footsteps to Freedom, and you would go on these tours of different Underground Railroad passages. And I was super gung-ho in 2019, and now I'm just really tired. And I was going back and forth for the past week about, should I go, should I not? Like, it'll be summer, you'll have time to rest. And at the end of the day, last night I had to realize, are you contemplating going because you really want to go, or because you don't want to let people down that expect you to go? And it had a lot to do with that. And the world will go on if you don't go. Like, you can still get the information, you can still glean what other people got from the trip, but you need to really honor yourself when you say you're burnt out and you need to rest, and you need to set yourself up so that this summer there's nothing that you absolutely have to do. And to be on that trip for a week is work to some degree. So, and it comes with responsibility for the following school year, and I'm in the season of pulling some things or taking some things off my plate. So I am proud of myself for doing that. If you're proud of me, please give me a thumbs up or a comment saying so. But other than that, as always, I hope that you're well, and if you're not well, please be well, and I will see you guys tomorrow, or not, or the next day. We'll see.